Well, here we are in the second half of November, and a few of the questions that we've had with personal finance are getting answered. First off, we spoke a few weeks ago about the US government being in shutdown mode. That has since been resolved, and that's probably good news for most people. Now, the other thing that people haven't really come to terms with how to resolve is this ongoing rush toward AI investing. There are just so many people who think we are now in a bubble in general and an AI bubble in particular. I'll leave it for you to decide whether or not you're on one side or the other or somewhere in between. But the thing that I cannot help but notice, and this is where I think a lot of people have to think about what they should be doing with their own portfolio. If you're going to make better wealth decisions, one of the things you might want to do is look at what the pros are doing. How are they making their wealth decisions, and what are the decisions they're making? And should you do something similar? So a couple of people that I thought of. First off, Warren Buffett, because this is a very well-known investor, and he has more money in cash right now than he has ever had at Berkshire Hathaway in history. That should be, I believe, something that is concerning. It gives you pause. The financial services industry says, don't go to cash, don't time markets. I don't believe anybody can time markets, but I do believe Warren Buffett is a successful investor. And when he starts putting money into cash, to be prudent for whatever reason you want to give, I think you should pay attention and filter it yourself. Just be aware of it and decide if that's going to have any impact on what you do with your investing. Similarly, secondly, Michael Burry. This is a guy that was very well known as a result of his role in the book and movie The Big Short. He's the guy that maybe more than anyone else was concerned about the subprime mortgage bubble and invested accordingly and made his clients a boatload of money in the process. Well, he's got a firm called Scion Asset Management, and he's just told his clients in the past couple of weeks that he's shutting the firm down because the valuations that he's seeing right now don't make any sense based on history and based on traditional metrics. Again, do with that information what you will, but this is a guy who has made some money, has a reputation, and is now worried about maybe some reputational risk in terms of what he's going to do, and has acknowledged that he can't really make sense of what's going on. So far be it from me or other people to make sense of what's going on. If Michael Burry doesn't know what's going on and can't explain it, don't expect me to be able to know for sure. What I will say though is you as an investor need to think about what this means for you. We now have a government that's back up and running in the US. We have all the dysfunction that you're aware of with regard to what's going on in Pennsylvania Avenue and the White House and what may be coming down the pipe with the Epstein files and whatnot. But then we have the other things, the more traditional financial concerns, valuations, CAPE ratios, debt levels, that I believe are a source of legitimate concern for investors. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm simply saying, be mindful of it. Think about what you would do if something were to go wrong and whether or not you have the emotional disposition to stick with it. There was an article in the Globe and Mail over the weekend that said X-Bal and Chill, which is code for just buy a single ETF with a 60-40 allocation, 60% stocks, 40% bonds, a traditional balanced portfolio, buy it and forget about it. There's some real wisdom in doing that. I think for a lot of people, it makes a great deal of sense. Think about it yourself. I'm not telling you what to do for the third time or the fourth time. I am saying this is an important tipping point in probably in history. You should think about what you're going to do and act accordingly if you're worried. This has been Weekly Wealth Update, a Make Better Wealth Decisions podcast dedicated to explaining how current events impact your portfolio and the wealth decisions you make. Tune in for commentary on how the news of the week affects your portfolio and your thinking.